What's up, oddities? Today I want to talk to you about stereotypes. Stereotype was coined by Jewish author Walter Lippmann, founding member of the Council on Foreign Relations, and he wrote the books Phantom Public and Public Opinion, which Jewish author Edward Bernays, father of propaganda and PR, based his crystallizing public opinion and then his famous book Propaganda on. Lippmann was a little less bold than Bernays about how we need to control the masses through propaganda. But at the end of the day, Lippmann advocated using stereotypes to forward the thinking of the people and manipulate the people into believing whatever the government wants, because he said the masses are too dumb to understand a lot of things, and we don't have the time to try and explain it to them, so we'll have to use these techniques to fool them. That was way back in the early 1900s, and Lippmann worked closely with the U.S. government, as did Edward Bernays. We forward to today, where we have the technological means to pretty much mass manipulate the people instantaneously. And that's why these platforms like X and Facebook and Truth Social and all that are so very important in today's political climate. And so controlling those is priceless. It's absolutely priceless. But today, they use stereotypes just as much as they did in the early 1900s, or even more. They've perfected the game of manipulation. And we've got things like nudge theory, psychological warfare, propaganda, brainwashing, you name it. All of this figures in. We tell the people what they want to hear is what these guys do. That's their motto. We tell them what they want to hear, but we manipulate them while doing it. It doesn't even matter so much as if these promises come to fruition, if they implant these ideas that they're going to happen in the people's minds. It's almost enough, because then their imaginations and their fantasies take over. And I think we've seen that since the invention of social media. All the broken promises by all the different presidents and politicians over time, it doesn't seem to matter, because the people still support them no matter what. So today there is a real push to use stereotypes to control the people and to keep them loyal to the parties. And since Trump, before we had Fox News, and then we had MSNBC, CNN, and the others. Now we have Fox News, Newsmax, One America, or whatever that is, and all the legacy media, which is dying, and we have what I call the MAGA grifter media complex, or industrial complex, if you want to call it that. But it's this never-ending train of people pretending to be conservative so they can capitalize on this MAGA movement, because that's what sells, that's what's hot, and people want to be told Trump's going to save them, the other side's bad. Now think about it. That's why they keep politics in America so simple, left, right. It makes it extremely easy to control one group or the other, because really the people's strength has always been our numbers. That's probably our only strength. And so to keep us from ever rising up in any meaningful way, they give us two choices politically, and then those two crowds, those two factions of the public are manipulated constantly and told what to think and do, so they'll never actually think on their own and use critical thinking skills and deductive reasoning and those kinds of things. So it's a controlled environment. Left-right politics, and I don't care if you mix MAGA in there and Trump, it's all the same. He's just magnified what was before. And again, you don't even have to deliver so much on the promises as long as you keep the fantasies going. It's all the same thing. Us versus them. You can always kind of bring one of the factions or the other around to what you want them to do and think by just playing the old us versus them. And it also is the same when you want to scare the whole country by telling them that we're going to be invaded by Russia or China or one of these other groups. But the real threat, as we all should know, comes from Washington, D.C. and New York, and this power structure within our own country. The presidents and the politicians are bribed and paid off. They're loyal to the people who fund their campaigns. The funders rule politics. They rule our representatives. That's who they're loyal to. So for one, they're loyal to them. But once you get into office, then you stand to gain all of these things later on by doing special favors. You may not be able to take the money and the bribes and the jobs and all that stuff at the moment, but later down the line, of course you can. And I've pointed this out too, as Peter Schweitzer made clear. Your immediate family can take gifts and bribes and jobs. Your spouse can't, but your brothers and your sisters can. Your parents can. Your cousins can. You know, those kinds of things. Your children can. So a lot of what people see in politics is just the surface level. We have no idea what's going on behind the scenes and who's being bought off and who's being promised things down the line. And that's why a lot of these guys, a lot of these senators, they'll serve a couple of terms and then they'll quit because they get a much better lobbying position just down the road. So I just wanted to talk to you guys about that and kind of go over a few things and get you to thinking about how stereotypes are used against us constantly. And they've perfected those now in the technocracy age and things like Cambridge Analytica and those sorts of things. Hope that you're doing well. Cheers and blessings. And remember, their order is not our order. See ya.